let's get started. It's your boy Carcino here, and I want to tip my hat to Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. It's funny to me how HBO love to act as if they discovered these guys. Like Kamegui, we've been talking about Kamegui since he fought Robert the Ghost Guerrero on Showtime. And once we saw that fight, we were like, whoa, the Japanese Floyd Mayweather. And all of a sudden, we were all blown away about Kamegui. And then he disappeared, and they robbed him, and Oscar De La Hoya said, don't worry, we're going to get you another fight. And we didn't see him again for almost a year. And then he fought Soto Karass the first fight. Soto Karass had a little bit more in the tank back then. It was a back and forth action fight for as long as it lasted. But the rising tide was definitely Kamegui. I believe that fight ended in a draw. And this fight here, it was academic, basically. Academic, whatever. So, it was over once they started the bell. He knew everything Soto Karass was going to do. He knew what was going to hurt him. And Soto Karass is a fighter who's been in way too many wars. And it's just time to hang him up. Your body can only take so much before it's time to shut it down. And Kameguy's in the mix. Anybody looking for competition, this guy is slick. He can move, he can punch, he can go to the body, he goes upstairs. He don't go to the body enough, but he still goes downstairs and makes you miss. Great with counter shots. He's going to make an exciting fight. And in Japan, he has a lot of knockouts. So, hats off to him scoring the TKO knockout. His corner stops the fight, and that was that. Now we look at the main event. We have Carlos Cuadras in there with Roman Gonzalez, and when the fight started, Roman Gonzalez tried to get it over with early by jumping all over Carlos Cuadras without not letting him set, which is a great strategy. This guy is the type of fighter who's a fast-paced fighter. He wants to get off first and get his comfortable distance and use his footwork to his advantage. And he's using a lot of energy. So you want to make him spend it. So when he was applying the pressure, coming with punches from left and right, you're like, wow, okay, this is going to be a quick night. Because this guy's going to gas out and there's no way he can keep this pace up. So Roman Gonzalez is pushing. Round 1, round 2, round 3. And I'm like, man, he's pushing way too hard. I think he should take it a little bit something off the gas right now because he was going a little too hard and he wasn't hitting as much as he would like. He was getting slipped because of the fast upper body movement by Cuadras, and he kept going back and not at the end of those punches, and he was a bit slow. Roman Gonzalez was with his shots. Now, if Cuadras stay in front of him, that's when he can go to the body and use his superior boxing techniques to score punches. And that's when he had a lot of his success because he seemed to be the more authoritative fighter out of the two. But Cuadras was still landing bigger punches, like wild looping hooks from like Oaxaca and bringing it from there and whacking him right upside the head with it. And he kept catching him with these shots. And then he'll throw a surprise body shot in there once in a while. It seems like once he's fatigued, the body is as close as he can get. And Cuadras, who was in the best condition I've ever seen, kept fighting back. He was using the ring, moving around, but when he stopped, he popped. And I thought this guy did enough to get the draw. Because in the later rounds, he won the later rounds. where Chocolatito, you wanted him to close it out, but he missed a lot of those punches. And so the scores were deceptive. I mean, they were like, they came there to put it down for Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez from the jump. When I saw an Illinois judge, I'm like, what is an Illinois judge doing way out there? So I'm just like, well, we know what this is. This is an HBO promoted event. HBO are basically promoters now, and this is the route they want to take. They want to promote him and Triple G together, and as a package deal, ask him, are they comparing the difference between him and Triple G? It's just lunacy. But that didn't even bother me with the fact that they talked about Alexis Arguello for an entire round of what was an action-packed fight. And it's like, are you kidding me? Him, Max Kellerman, and Roy Jones are sitting there arguing about Alexis Arguello, who had the better legacy between him and Gonzalez. In the middle of the fight, we don't hear anything else about what's going on in the ring for an entire round. So that's another example of poor commentary work at HBO, where they only see what's happening with the guy that they got signed, where the other guy, Roy, is still like, hey, well, this guy's still in the fight. He's still landing. You know, Roy's going to always be that benefit of the doubt guy, you know, as he was given to Soto Carras. Like, hey, Carras is still in there now. He just landed the right hand. You know, he's to remind the audience that, hey, this guy's a little stupid here, and I'm going to try to work my way through it. Like, Max Kellerman had to correct Harold Letterman. That would have never happened if Jim Lampley was in that set. Jim Lampley is still in the UK. That would have never went down if Jim Lampley was there. He would never tell Harold Letterman, Harold, I disagree with you. I don't think he's running. I wouldn't call it running, Harold. That would never happen if Jim Lampley was sitting in that chair. You don't correct Harold. If Harold says he's running, that's what it is. So Max was like, no, I think he's been throwing punches in there. It's like, yeah, but that happens with every fight. Harold Letterman's been scoring the fight the same way for 60 years. He always think the guy is running away just because he's not standing there getting punched in the face. That's just the way he scores. That's why his scorecard doesn't mean anything. But he scored at 116, 112 for Gonzalez. I had to fight a draw. I think that Quadra won enough rounds to pull off the draw. The last 2 rounds he won, I said, okay, well, that's definitely how you close the show. And I think he did enough to earn a draw. Well, I felt Chocolatito punched himself out, got himself in trouble because he was in there with a bigger guy. Plus, it's first time him fighting at that weight class. Is another thing from being that size and then fighting at that size. It's 2 different things. And I think it's taking its toll on him. And if he fights that Japanese guy, he could be in trouble. But this is what happens. Floyd Mayweather showed interest in signing Chocolatito, and HBO got involved and beat him to the punch without knowing anything about him. There's asked Max Kellerman, Max, what about this guy? And Max says, oh, no, he's the real deal. So once they went and got him, that was it. Nobody talked about Sergey Kovalev except for me and Hollywood, I think. Me and Hollywood were the only ones talking about Sergey Kovalev. And next thing you know, Max Kellerman brought him up on the show, said, hey, there's a guy named Sergey Kovalev, and he fights overseas, and I'm telling you, he's the real deal. This is when HBO had Stevenson, I believe, or wanted to get Stevenson or something on their network or whatever. And They ended up getting Kovalev, trying to get them to do a fight, and it didn't work out. But what they got is a showcase, like, well, okay, well, let's see what this Kovalev guy can do. And now they got Kovalev. So Max Kellerman is like a slash matchmaker, promoter, telling them which fighter to go and get. So they just asked Max Kellerman, Max, who should we get? And they listen. HBO has now become promoters again. They want to run the network a certain way, and they'll make whoever they want to win. Should I even do a prediction fight for Kovalev Ward? If there's no knockdowns or knockout by Kovalev, which I don't see that happening in the fight, might as well tell y'all right now, the fight gonna be scored a draw. I'm out.